All right, everybody. Welcome to a Chapel Youth Chat podcast. I've been looking forward to. I'm here with Harrison Chatham, and he is a student in Chapel Youth, but he's also one of our student leaders. There's much more to Harrison, though, than just those two things. We're going to get in a little bit to some of the details about your life, Harrison. And we're going to talk about one big thing. You go to Mingo Valley Christian.
I do.
Which is, in case you didn't know, and you're not from Tulsa, it's a private school here in Tulsa. And that's going to be a lot about what we talk today regarding our faith in Christ through the context of a private school. But Harrison does a lot. I mean, how many sports do you play currently?
3.
Okay. Basketball.
Currently. Or 2 currently.
Yeah, basketball,
I drop
soccer.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you drop soccer.
I drop soccer. So
Okay.
I run track still.
Amazing. So yeah,
Yep.
athlete, scholar. Tell the people what you're going to do after graduation.
Yeah, I'm going to Texas A&M. I'm going to be a part of the Corps of Cadets and be a Marine officer after that, after graduation. And that is all paid for by the Department of Defense, which is pretty sweet.
It's pretty awesome, man. So if you don't know Harrison, because this is a podcast for Chapel Youth students, so if you don't know Harrison, you see him on a Wednesday, you see him on a Sunday night, go up to him, say what's up. Don't bombard him all at once, obviously, but just say, hey, he's a great person. He's going off to do some awesome, awesome things. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Harrison, part of our introduction is sometimes people have perceptions of private school. Now, there's private schools in the United States that aren't Christian, but a vast majority of private schools in the United States have some type of like Christian worldview. And so like I know growing up in public school, there were definitely some perceptions that I had. And I won't get into those quite yet because I think the questions that I'm going to ask you today reveal some of those perceptions. But I just kind of want to start off on a great note, on a positive note. Just tell me a little bit about your experience at Mingo Valley Christian. Because how long have you been there?
14 years.
Okay.
Yes.
So very well-versed, a veteran
Yes.
at Mingo Valley Christian.
I am indeed.
What are some things you've loved about your experience there?
Just like even from a young age, like I've been there since pre-K.
Mm-hmm.
And always like a big emphasis on the Bible, obviously as a Christian
Yeah.
school, but also like a really great relationship with your teachers.
Okay.
You just always like you're never like scared to talk to them about anything, and they always will explain stuff to you. And whether that's regarding the course material or just like faith things or just questions about life, it's always great. And then also the community, have some great friends there, great coaches that really pour in and care more about your faith than someone maybe at like a public school where that's not even considered at all, and they just want to know how good of an athlete you are or can be.
Sure.
Where here a lot of the emphasis is how can I make this player on my team a better man of God as well as a better athlete.
Yeah.
So that's been one of my favorite parts for sure.
Yeah. That's really awesome. You feel like it's prepared you well
I think so.
for adulthood. Obviously, you know, you're pursuing studies at Texas A&M. Like, you feel like, man, this is just, I'm heading in a really good direction.
Yes.
That's really awesome. Okay, so, I mean, you talked a little bit about it. Are there any other said benefits that you see from being at a private school? What are some of, like, you talked again a little bit about it, like the relationship with your teachers, having kind of a biblical worldview. Anything else that you really appreciate and benefit from being at a private school?
Yeah, I think just the people you're around.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not around anyone that I think nobody in my class has ever like gone to a party. Like if we do, we're just like sitting around watching someone play Fortnite. We got the cops called on us one time. That was because the freshmen and sophomores were running around outside being dumb. So that wasn't even us. So like no kind of party culture at all. No one drinks or smokes or anything. Has never been a temptation, I don't think, for anyone in my classes.
Awesome.
So that's been a huge blessing. And then also just like the culture, being around athletes, being around sports teams, there's kind of a tendency to use kind of foul language and and make crude jokes. And there's really not been much of that at all.
Great.
And if there is, like sometimes one of us will like slip up, something will happen, and it's always like not like condescending, but always like, hey, you're better than that. You don't need to talk like that.
There's
like,
accountability.
Right. Yes.
You have somebody like holding the standard, bringing you up to it.
And that's been huge, super helpful. and just eliminated a lot of unnecessary temptation that I think a lot of public school people are subject to just by the nature of who they're around
Sure.
every day.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. What are then, on the flip side, some of the drawbacks to being at a private school? And not like, throwing shade at one specific school and not even naming, any specific people, but from your perspective, because everything has drawbacks. I think as Christians, we can kind of see the obvious drawbacks of going to a public school, kind of the opposites of what you just listed. Well, I mean, you're standing alone for the most part in your faith every single day. People that even say they're Christians, they're off partying, they're doing this, they're doing that they know they shouldn't be doing. So there's drawbacks to everything, and every institution and everything that's ever man-made. So for you, in an obviously respectful way, like I know you will, what are some of the drawbacks to being in a Christian private school?
I think a big drawback is my graduating class is 19 people.
Sure.
And I've been with all 19 since sophomore year at least, maybe freshman year. And then I've been with the majority, I think 13 since first grade. So it is kind of good that we're all like a family, but also we're all like a family and kind of...
Everybody knows everything about each other?
That, and we kind of very short tempers with each other sometimes just because we've been being annoyed by the same thing for 13 years or whatever. So that is a drawback. And I think also the opportunities, there's a lot less. Like, I would have loved to play football or baseball, and I never got to because our high school didn't have it. There's a lot of classes that I didn't get to take that I necessarily could have at another school. And we're getting there to, like, having way more classes and, like, variability to where you can do dual credit with ORU or TCC or whatever. So we're getting there, but, like, at least in my time, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of college credits that I didn't really have access to, just being smaller. With basketball, we don't have a gym.
Sure, so you're practicing off campus all the time.
All the time.
Right here at Christian Chapel. Shout out.
Shout out here, down the street at Central, sometimes at Rhema. We play all our games at Rhema. Soccer, we did just get a field. But like track, we're using BA's Freshman Academy.
Sure.
So that's a drawback for sure, not having the resources or like the money or means to attain those resources. I'm sure tuition is a drawback. I don't pay my tuition.
Sure,
so,
more of a parental drawback.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
But really, like, I think it's mostly positive.
Yeah.
I can say, when I was, like, in middle school, I got labeled with kind of a group of troublemakers a little bit. So I think there can be a tendency, just because it's such a small school, like, some of the smaller issues can get blown way out of proportion by, like, teachers, and they'll kind of label you as a troublemaker, even if what you're doing
not that bad
on a grand scale. So there is a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And, like, you kind of... Sometimes you can pick up a label, and it's really hard to break that label.
Sure.
Just because they know you so well and they're around you all the time. But that's not a big problem.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think that's really good, man. What about living, and this is almost going to sound like an oxymoron a little bit, but like, what about living out your faith as a Christian in a private school? What does that look like? Because I think a lot of people's, and you could like confirm maybe some perceptions that people have. Maybe you're going to sit there and be like, that's absolutely right. Or maybe not. But I think, again, I come from mostly a public school perspective. I went to ORU for college, which is private. But I come from mostly a public school perspective. And so the perspective was they don't really have to, like, work on their faith, work on really defending their faith. They kind of got it easy. They're just, learning more and more about the Word all the time. They all kind of agree. It's kind of this cushy environment. What would you say to that, or how would you describe your Christian walk as a private school student?
Yeah, I do think there's definitely some elementary truth to that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not out there being bombarded by atheists every second of every day, or like getting screamed at for speaking up in science class against evolution or something. So that is definitely part of it. But I think also a lot of our classes focus on that ability of like having an understanding for apologetics and being able to defend that. And there's definitely disagreements between, like, sometimes, like, not really teachers and students, because they try to teach it pretty objectively, like, doctrinally. But between students, there can be some disagreements. But I think overall it is pretty, like, kind of a bubble. I would agree with that. And there's not a whole lot of challenging in your faith, but there is the moment you step outside of that.
Sure.
Because, like, I kind of learned this. I played lacrosse for Bixby in middle school. So, like, the moment I stepped outside of that and not everyone was a Christian, it was kind of like, whoa,
Yeah.
Like, I've never really experienced this before. Little 6th, 7th grade Harry. Did not mean to do that, but that was just the age. So kind of you get that challenging, like, more so in public school.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different because it's different systems. So there's pros and cons.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
One thing I would say that I was encouraged by, like, I was actually there today at, like, a Bible study you guys started.
Yeah.
I think, like,
Shout out Hobbs.
Yeah, the potential of that is huge because in a Christian private school, it's easy just to.
Yeah.
Now, theoretically, in a public school, you can do that too, but it's not going to be met with the same teacher backing, like,
Right.
hey, use my room, or it's not going to be met with, the understanding toward that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's one benefit as well, because then you have, like, so many guys
Right.
around that are like, yeah, like, let's get a little bit more into the Word together over lunch when we're just probably talking about nonsense anyway,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
So that's really cool. I think that's also a really great aspect about living out your faith as
For sure.
as a Christian at a private school.